know the way it goes.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Bon Iver's I, which came out a little bit over a year ago at this point. And I actually caught this album on Spotify when they were releasing the singles the night before the album release. They released like every song on the album as a single within in like an hour interval. And I just so happened to catch it and I was ecstatic at the time. It was like Christmas for me. So yeah, even though I was stoked about the album when I was catching those singles, I really started to have some problems with the album as I listened to it a bit more. And the album just kind of started to grate on me a little bit over time, but I've revisited it lately. And, it's still an enjoyable album. It's still one that I like to listen to from time to time. And I'll talk about this more as I continue the review, but one of the issues I have with the album is that there's two types of songs on it. Really, there's the full songs, and then there are little sketches of songs that just aren't fully fleshed out for the most part. And some of them work, and some of them don't work. Luckily, most of them do work, but it's just something to think about when you're listening to the album and rating it as an entire piece of work. If you guys enjoy the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see a lot more reviews in the future and probably some other types of creative takes on music, whatever those might be. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. The song opens up with one of those songs that's just a sketch for me, and honestly, it's not even like a sketch of a song. It's basically like a background recording of the very initial stages of I Me, or I Am I, however you want to pronounce the name. That's another thing. The names of these songs are just pretty ridiculous, and I guess it helps them stand out, but when you go to talk about them, it sure does make it tough. But yeah, this one's called Ye, and it's a song that I could really just take or leave. I mean, I skip it most of the time just because it's, just a 30-second little nonsense song, honestly, with little sketches of sound from I Me. But I guess it is a cool little piece of history for the band. It's probably when they first got the idea for the song, and, more power to them for including that on the album. The next song is I Me, and that's kind of the fully fleshed out song that came from the bare bones of Ye. And it's what I would consider the true opener of the album. It's really a beautiful song. I love the combination of the synthetic sounds as well as some natural instruments on it. And in that way, it kind of brings together some of the best of both worlds for Bon Iver. The natural instrumentation of For Emma with some of the more hip-hop and synthetic sounds that came from 22 A Million. Yeah, it's really just an excellent song with a lot of layers to the music, and the ending doesn't really do it for me. It's just kind of a cacophony of horns and synths and drums and other instruments, but overall it's a great song and I like it. The next song is We, which is kind of a different vibe for Bon Iver. It's really dark and a moody song that I don't really think fits Bon Iver's persona all that well. It's another song that I think is just a little bit underdeveloped. I think it's a decent song, but it's just not one of my favorites on the album. I don't know. The next song is Holy Fields, which is more of a sketch than a full song in this case. Yeah, somewhat underdeveloped and just leaves a lot more to be desired. Most of the song is just this pulsing beat that's driven by, just this pulsing synth with some strings occasionally thrown in, but there's moments of beauty on this song, but it's just so short and it doesn't really go anywhere. So at this point in the album, we're like 4 songs in, and only one of the songs has really held its weight for me up to this point, that one being I Me. The other songs are just not fully fleshed out enough for me. Holy Fields was able to accomplish some of its emotional pull with just how simple it was, but I still wouldn't really consider it a great song. And with Bon Iver, I really expect great songs across the board based on, some of what they've been able to do in the past. And luckily at this point in the album, we get the song Hey Ma, which is one of my favorites on the album. And up to this point, it competes with I Me for the best song on the album. The choruses are just lush with synths and vocal harmony, yet again, I feel like there's just a little bit more to be desired from this song. I mean, the song structure just is, verse, chorus, a bit of a breakdown bridge type of thing into a altered verse and into the closing chorus of the song. And for me, this was something that really could have benefited from a little bit more experimentation and just a little bit more work put into the song overall. It just feels a little bit formulaic to me, and I would have loved to have heard where the song could have gone. The next sketch of a song is You, Manlike, which is a very hopeful song, but again, just feels like there's just more that you desire when you're listening to it. And at this point in the album, I'm just wondering if all these songs were just like sketches that Justin had. And most of the time when you have a sketch for a song, you try to flesh it out with the band or do whatever you can to really make it into a complete, awesome song. And in this case, it just feels like they had a deadline or something. Like each of these songs, they just had a day to work with and weren't really able to get anywhere. And I know that that's not even true because we've seen what Justin can do with a deadline. I'm talking about For Emma Forever Ago, which was completed in such a short amount of time, but those songs are just beautiful and awesome and really well thought out and worked out. The next song, Naim, or let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I won't be upset if you correct me. I really love this song. It's one of my favorites on the album. I love the chorus chants, but I have to say the verses are probably the highlight of the album for me. I just love how the verses develop in this song. They start out so bare bones, and then by the end of the song, you just have this driving wall of music that's just emotional and dense and really beautiful. And Justin's vocals in the song are just amazing, and they convey a lot of emotion, and I would say that's especially true by the end of the song with that wall of sound that I talked about. Justin's voice is cracking a bit at certain points, and you can just really feel him feeling the music. Gelmore is another song that's a bit of a sketch, but I do like the vocal melody on this one, and the song actually works for me, and it brings up the point that on 22 A Million, there were a few songs, or maybe just a couple songs that I thought were kind of sketches as opposed to full songs. And the crazy thing is that most of this album is actually made up of those kinds of songs. And what's even crazier for me is that most of them work. I mean, the songs might not be entirely fleshed out in some cases, but you can still hear just at the root that they're really good songs, and there's really good songwriting going on at the core. That being said, the next song is a great one. It's called Faith. It's got this really spacey introduction that just is really effective and makes you feel like you're floating almost. And similar to Naim, this song sort of builds up at the end into a just wall of emotion and musical density, and Justin's vocals just really crescendo into something great. The next song's Marsion. The guitar is very beautiful on this song, and I really like the vocals over the song, and those things combined just really carry it to be something special. And then by the end of the song, you have something that's a favorite of mine for Bon Iver songs, and that's a horn section, and it's pretty cool. It just adds another shade of color to the song. Ever since their self-titled album, I love the horn sections in Bon Iver songs. I think they just add so much to their sound. And the trio of songs to end the album is actually pretty strong. The next one is Salem, which is a song where the beat is a bit tricky to find until the percussion kind of comes in and outlines it for you. This song is excellent from start to finish, and I just wish it were a tad bit longer because I feel like the two choruses that you run through in this song just aren't enough for it, and like a few of the other songs on the album, it just leaves so much more to be desired. I don't even know if I should try to pronounce this next song. Shadia? Shadia? I don't know. But this one's another sketch with some really beautiful music, and it feels like a jam session for the band, which is the first time that I think I can really say that for Bon Iver. If you listen closely, there's a lot of very atmospheric type of musical ideas going on, and the saxophone solo in this thing just rips, and it's very tense and expressive, and it honestly just feels like an all-out emotional release. And I think the album closes out pretty strongly on the song Rabbi, which isn't my favorite song on an individual basis on this album, but I think its placement in the track listing is pretty perfect. And for me, it's such a peaceful end to the album, and I think it just rounds things out really nicely. So overall, this was just not really what I was expecting from Bon Iver. I felt like so many songs had the potential to grow into something great, and then they just didn't, and it kind of left me disappointed at times. That being said, though, it's still Bon Iver. These songs are still pretty great for the most part, and it's something that I enjoy listening to on a consistent basis, but I will say it doesn't really feel like a step forward for the band. I think I'll always think that their pinnacle was the self-titled album, because that thing is just incredible and beautiful. But yeah, this is a good album, and it's a nice one to listen to. I rated this album a 7 out of 10 a few months back on my Instagram page, which is linked in the description of the video. But I think I'm going to stick to that. I think it's a good album, you know, not anything truly great or unique, just a good album that I enjoy listening to. If you guys could please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to hit the notification bell, and you'll be getting notifications anytime that I put anything new out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know down in the comments what you think I should be listening to next and reviewing next, and I will see you guys for the next one.